Our new official images and early release info all started with a brand new Chapter 4 picture that was just posted by Mob Entertainment. A secret mystery they left for us to solve that we were told likely has something to do with their future release date early. They came into the Poppy Playtime Discord server earlier today giving us directions for putting the whole mystery behind this image together, along with telling us they needed a favor. More instructions to follow, they will be invisible to your eyes. When you receive them, we need you to run icepick.bat on a certain website they give us. But what the heck do all these strange words and directions have to do with the release date speculation for the game? Well, it turns out the full list of words is meant to be a combination of technical computer commands, with words such as dir as the command for directory. All specific commands that we're told likely have a big connection to checking times and dates specifically, as they literally included the word date right there, perfectly going along with the fact that Mob Entertainment have seemingly picked now to start throwing important dates at us anyways following their newest Chapter 3 recap video. But as for the actual Chapter 4 expected release date and preview into what the game's gonna look like, things get a little more complicated. But we finally got some answers from another newer image we were given by Mob Entertainment. An image that actually reveals the full plot of the next game from secret details that no one has even noticed until now. It turns out this mysterious beach teaser was confirmed to be super important already by the Poppy Playtime game devs, who commented, "What secrets could be in here, I wonder?" Obviously referring to Chapter 4, as Huggy Wuggy's legs in the picture were perfectly positioned in the shape of a fork. We were even told where specifically in this image to look by a different Mob Entertainment team member who highlighted the umbrella and the magazines to be important. But what not many people picked up on was the fact that this one magazine in particular helped secretly reveal the entire story for the next game that we're finally able to put together. We already know based on its design that it was clearly meant to represent a real-life magazine featuring the 1997 film The Fifth Element, with all the symbols perfectly matching up with the design of the movie cover. But the full secret story of Chapter 4 comes into play here after discovering the huge connection Poppy Playtime has to the Fifth Element in the first place. Both stories completely line up in a way that gives us huge answers about the next game, as it turns out this isn't even the first time Mob Entertainment have secretly used sci-fi movies to tease what we're supposed to see in their games. Just earlier this year, they made a Discord post comparing both Huggy Wuggy and the prototype to certain Star Wars characters that ended up being so revealing for their future story that they were forced to quickly take down the post and pretend it never happened. But this time around, with Poppy Playtime's connection to the Fifth Element, we're given even more information. This is the important part. The Fifth Element sets up a story where a group of scientists reconstruct the very first perfect being, one that will change everything and eventually take down evil. Exactly like the creation of Poppy. Poppy was the one successful experiment made by the Playtime co-scientists that came first, coming before the Bigger Bodies Initiative and being the key to defeating evil. She was locked away in her case because the prototype allegedly saw her as a big threat to him and what he was trying to do. But what does the connection between these characters have to do with Chapter 4? Well, it turns out in the Fifth Element, the perfect being goes on to deceive the others that were helping her on two specific occasions. The first betrayal happening soon after meeting her helpers, and the second betrayal being later on near the end, where she considers changing her mind on what she was meant to do before deciding in the end to do the right thing and help the other characters do what they needed to do. And in Poppy's case, we've already had this exact storyline perfectly showcased, with the first betrayal at the start being the train takeover that she puts us through at the end of the second chapter. And we're expecting this second betrayal for Poppy to deceive us again, specifically sometime during the next chapter, or even Chapter 5, as during the recent Poppy Playtime recap video, the narrator takes note of Poppy, telling us that it's in her nature to deceive us. I'm certain betraying us came to Poppy naturally. telling us she was simply made this way, likely to keep deceiving us and destroy everything in her path just to get what she wants. But with everything lining up perfectly with the story of the fifth element so far, this would tell us that not only is Poppy likely to betray us in a big way for a second time, she's also meant to have a change of heart in the very end, deciding to finally do the right thing and help us, the player, get what we want at some point. But as for the Chapter 4 release date, it turns out our official Mystery Day image from earlier helps us out a lot here, specifically with the one part of the image not many people pick up on. These small boxes going around each other in the corner that Mob Entertainment definitely left behind for a reason. That reason being, they're actually a perfect match for nested boxes, telling us that they're supposed to be used to code in each of the rows of commands to finally give us some sort of output. Basically, this whole thing is supposed to be more related to getting some sort of code for the Chapter 4 ARG website. And knowing that the ARG website is now arriving finally helps us early with finding the release date early. We know that this website launch confirms that Chapter 4's development is locked in within a certain time frame. For starters, it has to be here specifically within the next 5 months, which we know due to the fact Poppy Playtime's previous chapter was fully launched around 7 months after the ARG website launch. We're told by Poppy Playtime's CEO that Chapter 4's development is gonna be even better and faster than that, as after confirming the process was gonna be sped up massively for this game compared to the last one, he also confirmed in a recent interview that we're 100% gonna be getting a release date announcement for Chapter 4 this year, meaning the full game is likely locked in to be here sometime in January specifically. As we know, the release date is set to be in the final trailer for Chapter 4 that comes right before the game. In the case of Chapter 3, there was only around a 1-week difference between the release date announcement video and the full game, telling us that if the pattern repeats, we literally have to be getting the full game sometime in January. But even before Chapter 4's release, it turns out we now know who the main boss of the game is meant to be early. The mob developers ended up teasing our first details about who it was meant to be by not only having a couple of their character names revealed early by having them copyrighted for future use, but also giving us information about what they were meant to look like in the next game. And it even turns out one of the group in particular connects to the description of the main boss we were given by Mob Entertainment's CEO. He told us early that this big boss monster would be the one he's been the most excited about for quite some time. It will be a fan favorite, and the design takes every unique advantage of being a Poppy Playtime toy monster, from the material choice to the animation, giving us a pretty specific description of what we're supposed to be looking out for. And going back to our newly released monster info, we know that one of them in particular not only perfectly matches this description, but also fits into everything we're expecting to see in Chapter 4 in the first place. And I'm able to put together everything we're told about this boss monster and even more characters for the game in this video right here. So for what we know about them early, make sure to check it out.